What does it mean to serve your city, to pave its roads, maintain its water, protect its green spaces, and keep its lights on? For thousands of public service workers across America, the answer lies in three powerful words: we show up. In Peoria, Arizona, they've been showing up since 1986, organized under AFSCME Local 3282, a union born from struggle, resilience, and the unwavering belief that every worker deserves dignity. But the story doesn't start in Peoria. It starts decades earlier in the fight for civil rights, for farm worker justice, and for the soul of the American labor movement.
It's not just a job, it's our calling. It's true public service, we keep answering for you. Never knew a voice could be so strong. At the bargaining table we belong. Well, ever since we organized our fight.
AFSCME Local 3282, this is our strategic agenda for essential public workers. Who is AFSCME? Well, AFSCME is the largest workforce covering over 120 job classifications. AFSCME is proud to serve the citizens of Peoria for 37 years. AFSCME represents workers from water, parks, solid waste, facilities, city hall, fire, and police.
I've been with the local for 38 years, 3282, and I started with them in 87 when I started it on the job.
Oh, I was so excited to find out that we had a local in Peoria. Growing up there, I didn't think that there was much union activity besides, at the grocery stores and stuff like that. But finding out that the city of Peoria had organized employees was pretty exciting for me.
Do the numbers mean anything? Well, you know what? I don't know where that, where that number 3282 came, but it's history in Washington, D.C.
3282 is special because of the people involved in 3282, from your membership to your local officers, because we empower one another. And the fact of the matter is we can't do it without each other. And so the people that are in the meetings on Thursdays and the people that are contributing with union dues are making a significant difference and impact within the community.
3282 is, they're fighting the good fight. Unlike other locals, they don't necessarily have a hall, they don't have quite the membership, but they use what they have to empower workers across the city anyway.
Since 87, I would say the population was just under 60,000. Now we're close to 200,000 for the population.
I have a small branch of knowledge about the past history and establishing Local 3282.
Because AFSCME started with some blue-collar workers back in the Great Depression that wanted to keep their jobs, and they wanted to create ingenious ways, ingenuitive ways of trying to basically create a labor group known as AFSCME. And so they've been able to solidify themselves in Washington, D.C. And politicians, from senators to presidents to council, local council, they have recognized how much of a benefit labor is and the human rights struggle is. And AFSCME embodies that.
So I got interested in the airline business. Prior to 9/11, I have been working at the airlines, and that was my first association with a union. I was working at the American West Airlines, and it was an awesome experience. How the union ran, how they supported you, how they just took care of you. It was a very strong, fundamental operation, how it run. I understood the principles of what happened and how it worked. What really fascinated me when I found out about how unions really work was the principles that it had.
I didn't know about wages, rights, and working conditions codified in an MOU, in a memorandum of understanding, and that an agreement was made from past presidents at a negotiating table and agreeing about the dignity in labor and how it encapsulates the human spirit. I didn't know anything about that.
One of the most amazing things as a president, which makes you strong, is a great vice president. But what makes a union strong is its membership. Your union is only as strong as its membership and its membership involvement.
I started in the sisterhood of AFSCME, the CSEA, that Civil Service Employees Association back in New York, founded in 1966.
The thing about public employees is they care about their communities. They care about the people who live in their communities. So therefore, their service is going to be 100% better than corporations who their only agenda is to make money. Public employee unions are to make sure you not only get a fair wage, but you give your community the service that they deserve.
Really big hearts within that community. They're very community driven. And I think that's thanks a lot to their leadership, who is trying to show, that the benefits of the union can get out into the world, just beyond their membership, and they can make a powerful impact, as public sector workers on both fronts.
So the reason why unions aren't as popular as they once were is because there's been a systematic effort to basically misconstrue what they really are. And that's come through policy.
In 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. joined striking sanitation workers in Memphis. Black men who picked up the city's trash, but were treated like garbage themselves. Their signs read, "I am a man." Their cause, a union contract, fair pay, and respect. Dr. King knew this was more than a labor dispute. It was a fight for human dignity. That strike, supported by AFSCME, would be King's final stand before his assassination. It linked civil rights and labor rights forever. Because as King reminded us, all labor has dignity.
This one of the true values of a union today is that we're one of the only workforces that provides you with a true retirement. So you say the things of the past were old, like your granddad and stuff like that. That's true. The union upholds those true values from old to the current. The thing that you look forward to most is to be able to retire with dignity and respect. And the only way you're going to do that is with a union.
These here is what our union considers the golden tenets of AFSCME as an organization. We believe that in order to be the employer of choice, that our collective bargaining between our negotiating teams can result in just that. And number one would be working on transparency and accountability. And what that means is operating good faith with one another and working towards resolutions when they arise, whether it comes from grievances or how to mitigate issues and just how to handle things at the lowest level. AFSCME embodies dignity and it embodies character. And to be able to be in public service and to give back to the residents of Peoria, to be able to give back to the citizens and show them that you could be the best and that you're an essential worker and you provide essential functions is amazing to me. I just asked a president recently, how did AFSCME get established at Peoria, or so-and-so brought in to Peoria, and the workers got together and they voted for collective bargaining. And so there's one thing that people have to realize when a union comes to be, when it originates, is there's a set of problems. There's a set of problems within the workplace that basically revolve around wages, rights, and working conditions.
When I go, the goal was to make the workplace a better place to work at. Try to strive on getting monies and better benefits and stuff like that. That was the main goal back then.
The union came in, people started seeing the need for this. They jumped on board. It's now gotten that they've gotten some people in there that are realizing that, yes, this is our family, that they are making the city worth moving to. They are making it worth working at. So it's more a matter of that they now value the employees and they now value the union. We've even had one of the supervisors from the city say they want every city employee to be a member of the union. That is mind-boggling to hear.
Being paired together, you're never alone. There's always someone with you. The unity. So it's easy for me to understand the principle of being a part of the union because I would never be alone. I would always have someone beside me to fight with me, to defend me, to protect me. So but not only that, not only would I just have one brother, I would have a whole family. So joining the union was like, whoa, okay, now I'm very well protected.
It's always been to where a lot of times the government has their sights set on one direction, and that's to make, how can I put it, management to manage their personnel and get all the credit for the work's getting done. the employee that's doing the work isn't getting the credit that they should be getting.
I worked with AFSCME. We got organized. We negotiated a contract with the Recorder's Court. I was 25 years old when we negotiated that contract, and I have always been with AFSCME and with public employees my entire life.
AFSCME, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, was born in 1932 when Depression-era public workers in Wisconsin demanded protections from political cronyism. What started with a few civil servants became a nationwide force. By the 1960s, AFSCME was on the front lines of labor and civil rights, marching with King in Memphis, organizing sanitation workers, and helping public employees across the country gain bargaining power. Today, with over 1.4 million members, AFSCME is one of the most powerful voices for working families in America.
My name is Barry McCain, and the local was always very good for me. I enjoyed coming up there, and I miss everyone there. It's just part of my life that I thought was a pleasure.
I've worked essentially no union jobs till I got to my current job, which I'll touch on that. But I worked at Jack in the Box. I worked at warehouses, and I saw labor issues when I was there. I just didn't know how to codify the labor issues and articulate them. I worked in warehouses where there was no AC. It was 115, 120 degrees and they're 130, and you're being managed by a computer to meet a productivity standard, and people were passing out. I've worked days of construction. I think I worked a 19-hour day once with one break. I've worked at a factory, which was, you could call it basically it was a real sweatshop. And so I've worked some real difficult jobs and some real slavish jobs, as I would put it. And I was the guy that they always wanted to fire, in a sense, because I was the guy saying, hey, this isn't right.
I wasn't there to tear down the city. I wasn't there to tear down their way of doing business. I was wanting to work with them, to make the city better, to make something that's more amenable to the working man and woman.
What I've learned, what I've noticed, I saw that when I became more and more involved in the process of negotiation, I would look across at the other side of the table. I'm thinking, these people are benefiting from the same thing that I'm representing. They're not the people of the old. They understand what I'm doing and what they're benefiting from. What's the pushback?
Well, Apio, he didn't want the union. He was down. He didn't think the county needed a union. So I was in an uphill battle with it. I was in an uphill battle with the mayor of Globe also. I kicked his butt too. And so I say that because I mean they deserve to get beat up. I mean those management people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, and our guys are making what? $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year, and these guys are millionaires. I wasn't afraid to say what's on my mind and when I said it, and how I said it, because I meant every word of it.
Was I told the city that I'm not here to get even, I'm here to get it right. So whatever past qualms you have with me, I will not allow you to hold me hostage. Whatever AFSCME did wrong, I'll take full responsibility for it, but I will not be a hostage. I'm accountable. You bring something to my attention that needs to be addressed, that I can address and fix, I'm gonna do it. But likewise, I wanna hold you accountable. If you're willing to take on that responsibility, I said, we can build a great relationship. We hold each other accountable. So, which established, and it took a long time for them to have confidence that that's what I was there. It took me 2-3 years for them to realize, oh, it's just not a word of speech. He literally means it. So at that point, the walls began to break down and the relationship began to get better. It was at that point where I started to be able to communicate with them about how what I'm doing affects you also. You're benefiting from the same things that I do.
Two things you have to look for. You have to look for a competent leadership, especially a competent president. If you don't have a president with a sense of vision, it's going to be very hard to get anything accomplished and anything done. And so you have to have a visionary. And then second of all, you have to have a group of people that believe that vision. Not only believe it, that come alongside the president and refine him. Arizona doesn't have any break laws, and Arizona doesn't even have any lunch laws. And when you read the negotiating process and what was agreed upon, you go, oh, I get 2 15-minute breaks a day. I get a 30-minute break a day for health and the benefit and well-being of the employee. And then you start looking at the pay increases and the wages, and you start looking at the safety protocols and the safety equipment that you end up getting through there, and the recognition of just everything codified into law. So when I saw all of these things, like 3-year contracts, with wages that were tantamount to 15-20%, which is a very good wage that was negotiated, with a percentage given to work boots, with labor disputes being codified in the contract, with grievances procedure. So you are allowed to grieve. And in the United States of America, you're allowed to redress your grievances. And even in MOU, you're allowed to redress your grievances at work. And you could say, I've been violated. There's not equality here. My working conditions aren't good. I'm not being validated. There's no dignity in labor here. And so under certain articles I was reading, you have the right to grieve these things. And so it was fascinating to me that I had an avenue and a mechanism, a legal one, to work through, and not to be anti-management, but to make the workplace better for everyone. And if I could get in there somehow, and if I can add some language, and if I can work on some of these articles, then I have the ability to change generations through an MOU and posterity for future generations.
Thanks to unions, America has weekends, overtime, safety laws, child labor protections, sick leave, health benefits, fair wages. These didn't come from generosity. They came from organizing. When workers form a union, they gain power, not just to earn more, but to live better. AFSCME isn't just about wages. It's about voice, safety, and dignity. That's the union difference. And even in right-to-work states like Arizona, that difference still matters.
The involvement, what it was looking like originally when I took over the union, we were probably right about 179. We got up to close to 160, 80 at one point in time. And for some reason, I don't know why. I don't know if the expectation was greater than which could be achieved by what membership thought it should be, or it was just that time and era where people just didn't believe that it was important to be a part of a union.
I believe unions are actually getting more popular. They're getting more recognition, and the history of it completely I don't know the complete history of it, but I'm glad to be part of it.
I groomed Josh 6 years prior. He was not ready, had no concerns. It wouldn't have anything to be involved as far as leadership goes. Awesome member, great. I saw something in him. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be timing out. And as a true leader, you need to have a succession plan. You need to be looking around, who can fill my shoes? Who can take the place and take the union in a different direction?
And Walter Crenshaw is a very good man. He's has a very strong faith, and he's just not a selfish person at all. And so Walter Crenshaw has always talked to me when we talked in our deep conversations about the succession plan and getting me ready. And he would say, you know what, Josh, I don't have to do much to get you ready. Okay, God's already making you ready. You just need to do it.
They had their ups and their downs. When they were down, they really tried to encourage employees to join, and they're building their membership back up now.
So since you resigned as the treasurer, have you liked the direction that 3032 is going into? Why do you still come to the meetings?
Well, I own property in Peoria, and I like the employees, and I like the union, and I support all unions. It's special to me because I worked for AFSCME when they started this local, and it means a lot to watch it grow.
38 and a half years that I've been with the union, I've seen it's like a roller coaster ride. Any job, any place you go, it's a roller. You have your good years, you have your bad years. Every president has their different views on what they're going to chase and how they're going to do it. But in the last, I'd say the last 8 years, or the last 8 to 10 years, it's been more of a worker benefit, trying to get the best for the employee that works for the city.
We're probably in the 5th to 6th range below market value currently in the city of Peoria. So I say the city of Peoria pays you well. I should say city of Peoria knows how to treat you. They don't know how to take care of you. They treat us well. They don't take care of us as far as the growth in regards to employment or as far as the city's ability to be able to manage its workforce.
In the mid-1980s, Peoria city workers organized for a stronger voice. By 1987, the city adopted a meet and confer framework, Ordinance 87-57, and recognized AFSCME Local 3282 to negotiate wages, hours, and working conditions. From then on, Local 3282 has been the voice of Peoria's essential workers, not just laborers, but leaders.
My executive board, his name is Furman, and this is what was given to him for all of his faithful years on the executive board. And he showed up to every single meeting because he cared about other people. And I want to recognize my membership for doing great work. And I have a few more of these, and I'm making a few more. And these are special. Not everybody gets these. These are special because you are recognized for doing something that changed people's lives. We've had a difficult time with the city. If you're married, you have a difficult time. You have a difficult times with your children, but you have to ask yourself the question, how do you make it better? How do you become uniform and get on the same page and make something beautiful out of something that's broken or something that's just misunderstood?
Meanwhile, in California's fields, another revolution was taking root. Cesar Chavez, son of farm workers, veteran of community organizing, believed that even the most marginalized laborers had power. Alongside Filipino workers and co-leader Dolores Huerta, he formed the United Farm Workers and launched a historic great boycott that lasted 5 years. Millions joined. Growers caved. Workers won. Their slogan, "Si se puede," "Yes, we can," wasn't just a chant. It was a prophecy, one that still echoes in union halls across the country today.
When I think about one, especially from my culture, I'd say Cesar Chavez. And the amazing thing about Cesar Chavez is the United Farm Workers is he wanted recognition for these farm workers. They had makeshift housing. They were working with pesticides, environmental problems, and they formed a small group of about 15 people. It was small, and then it transformed itself into over a 300-mile march in California. And they basically wanted recognition. They focused on wages. They had very low wages, rights, and they wanted better working conditions. They just weren't being recognized. I believe workers' rights are a matter of national security. Because if you don't have a healthy nation that can go to work and feel valued, the dignity of labor, how is your nation going to rise and not fall?
Probably the best thing I've seen is the way that the board sees and does things now. It's more of a, we're going to work with you to get it done, and what do we need to convince you to work that way so we can all get along and make it better for everybody.
I see the power we can present. I see the ability for us to gain. I see a groundswell of people that are realizing that their family needs it, they need it, their children, their grandchildren will need this. That things in the nation have not gone a more intelligent direction of late, and we need to get that corrected. We need to care for the working people. The working people are who made this nation. They're the working people who are going to carry this nation.
At my last meeting that I had, there was discussion about AI. So we are in the beginning phases of discussing that and how that's going to affect our operation. But then again, as the labor force in Peoria, me as a president and my team would have to sit down with the city and say, okay, what are the plans for AI? And how do we get our workforce ready for that? And what's the projection of how many employees you're going to have based off AI? So AI is a system. And to me, it's really good. It could have medical advances and it could be really bad because AI can put a workforce out of work. We don't take the humanness out of the workplace. Me personally, I wouldn't want to work in a factory or warehouse where it's all robotically controlled because we take the humanity out of the workplace. And if you talk about a society that lacks empathy, automate everything, and the human spirit is slowly going to die.
How do you erase the family structure? You know, the structure of workplace itself is that you have to have both a dominant and submissive role. It needs to have an equilibrium. The union is just the equilibrium. It just says what's honest, what's fair. And you always need someone to do that. Because if you're too heavy-handed on one way, you'll tilt the scales and you won't have a balance in the workplace. So even with AI understands balance. So maybe I should ask the question to AI, what do you think about the union? How do you think the union is going to last? Matter of fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask AI, what does it think about the union? It's going to replace a lot of jobs, but you're still going to have people physically doing work. And they're going to physically need to be safe. They physically need to earn an honest wage. When an honest day's work, it has to be established as being that way. I pay literally nothing for my insurance because I've gotten involved with the Partnership for Prevention program. That's what we started. That's what the union engaged. And right now, currently, employees, every year you get a raise. How, Walter? How do I get a raise? I save you money on your insurance every single year.
The state law in Arizona, the definition of equality is in the workplace, all things aren't equal. So you have to try to create a contract where that equality is paramount and it's recognized.
This is a contract. This is one of the few contracts that I had with the city of Peoria. And we got everybody signing on, the city manager, the mayor, the president of the local, myself, and the chief steward. And here's all the language that we changed with the contract.
And so the DC basically keeps in constant contact with all their presidents. They want to know how they're doing. They want to know what's going on. They want to know what the membership looks like. And what's amazing is AFSCME DC always fights for legislation on keeping the jobs in America, from keeping people from being terminated, to let the government of the people, by the people, and for the people know that the human desire and ingenuity of America is an economic model that can't be oppressed.
Unions are so important because we know that they always have the backs of our workers, and our workers are the backbone of Arizona. And so, unions are always there for not just their members, but for our entire state. And they can always be counted on to support American democracy. So union power is what's going to get us through until the next election and the election after that, where we are going to save our democracy.
Hello, my name is Sandy Chismark, and the Peoria Union is special to me because now I actually live in Peoria. I belong to Chapter 97 retirees for AFSCME, but the Peoria local is becoming more active all the time, doing community service, which is something I'm very proud of when I can be involved. They have a bunch of members that are trying to hold their union together, and I want to be able to be a part of that, to bring my skills and levels to that union local so that we can make unions be what they should be again.
Shout out to 3282 Peoria. We love you in Peoria. You're doing amazing work. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Today is the 90th anniversary of Social Security. 9 decades, Social Security has been the most successful federal program in American history, keeping millions of our seniors out of poverty, providing stability for families, upholding the promise that after a lifetime of work, you could retire with a measure of security.
And I remember Walter Crenshaw asked me a question, and I'm going to be very honest in this interview. He said, "How often do you feel like quitting this?" And I said, "Every single day." And he says, "Welcome to the presidency," right? He says, "You're not doing it for yourself. And it's a hard job to do. And it's a legal job full of legality. It's a spiritual job, it's a psychological job. It's a job that you will almost get no recognition for, but those that recognize you will mean so much to you."
There's a combination of both. I was having some personal uh, family concerns in regards to taking care of my family and stuff like that. And there's two families in your life, your union family and your personal family. Your family comes first. Your secondary family is your union. When most people were at home, you're still an active member. You're still leadership. Your leadership 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. You don't ever stop being a leader or the president of the union. And most people don't understand that.
Other locals can learn that having dedicated leadership is very important. The leadership in the union or local is very committed to doing the right thing, trying to get their message out in proper formats so that all can be involved. They are trying to stay centered in their efforts and not spread themselves too thin, but at the same time doing as much as they can to help their local communities and their union members as well.
It never comes down in the way you would expect it to come down. And so I wanted to touch base because I wanted to take a vote, but I wanted to explain something here, and it's up to everybody here. We had an individual, and he's not a union member, so this is kind of what I wanted to segue into. We cover everybody. Even though you're not a member, where membership is special and recognized and it is a big deal, every individual that works at Peoria gets asked me, regardless in the city's view, right? And philosophically true, because they're under the MOU in that context.
His son has a wife and had 6 children. Well, 2 or 3 days ago, he went into the other room and he ended his life while his wife and his kids were in here. And so, that's what he did, and it's a devastating situation. And I found out, and I'm like, hey, I at least want to try to get a vote to cover the pre-nation. So this is a real conversation that I want to have. And I know, Clint, you've been dealing with it a lot. He was actually hysterical when you called him. And he said, it's okay if I speak about this. This isn't the only son. He lost a son previously. He was a pastor, car wreck happened. And so he's lost all his boys, his son, his grandson. And Walter brought up a good point, and what are we going to do for members? And I wouldn't mind even taking on getting a vote from this point forward. We can allocate so much money for a member and a non-member when it comes to bereavement of something we could donate, but then cap it at something reasonable. Because I hate to see somebody died and experience a tragedy and we just stand by and do nothing. Okay, I'm going to explain why I said non-member before I ask somebody to make a motion. Because if somebody's really special in your life, in your department, you form a connection and you love them and you go, I want you to go to vote. I'm like, can we have $500 to donate to them? I don't want to be so stringent if it's a non-member, because then altruism and charity is just not a thing anymore.
The fundraising restaurants and how you're going to structure this, what your cap is going to be. This isn't something other than this family that actually has to be decided right tonight until some of these things maybe get a little more concrete with the conversations with external parties about how to organize this.
I don't like the idea of having a fund. I don't like the idea of having available this. I'm not saying that we shouldn't help, but I think that it's going to get sticky on 2 issues. One is we don't know down the road what kind of funds we're going to have available. True. We don't. And then it's a possibility we could help members or non-members. That could happen, right? I think it's going to come down the road, once it's known that we've helped some people, then we become why not me by somebody. What happens when it's why not me? I know that this guy and you help this guy, and then you're going to have the money, you're going to have that fund and have to select yes or no. And then what criteria is there? Because we like somebody because they're poor, because we've seen their face before, because they live in Peoria or not, we'll be making those decisions amongst ourselves. And so I like the idea, think we should help. I love it. Even the fundraising, that's the first time I heard that. That sounded like an awesome idea too. But that's different money. Like we could say, if we had a fundraising fund, and then we can say, I'm sorry, we don't have anything in the fund right now. Let's try something else, a car wash or whatever. But I don't like the idea of having that money, any money set aside for that purpose, because we can always, in every case, sit down and decide like we have been.
But I would say this, once we enter that kind of mental territory, we just paralyze and cripple ourselves. We just shut down. And it can't, we shut down our whole entire purpose. So doesn't matter if somebody's displeased. No matter what act of kindness you do, somebody's always going to be displeased.
I just wanted to mention that I was in an organization that we started to do this same type of thing. And unfortunately, it all comes down to dollars and cents. Unfortunately, you need to look at your overall budget, the kind of money you bring in. In retrospect, they pulled back, didn't do it for a year, and then regrouped and said, okay, we're going to set this more modest amount because this is what our budget, we can always guarantee we're going to get this kind of money coming in. It's still the money for all the other things that we need to do. My suggestion would just be really consider the amount.
True.
Can never be enough. It can never be enough. But just have.
You do it yearly, but there needs to be a cap to control cost. I would say $5,000 a year, and it's capped. And we can look right now. We can start at maybe 1,000, or I don't want to set too huge of an amount. I mean, if we plan for 2 incidences, 3 for a member, 2 for a non-member. Yeah. At a year, just do a cap it at that. If everybody's okay with that, if you take somebody could vote on that. Even when I set that discretionary fund for $1,300, not a lot of people use it. I wrote 2 small checks out to keep a person's power bill on, and medication. So that discretionary like $1,300, and that's already been put to work. I can't get to work and I need tires. I'm gonna go down there with you. We just tires. That's the stuff that I would like to do, that we are doing. So we could do 5 years. We'll cap it, a $5,000 a year, cap it, 3 for a member, 2 for a non-member. And we can actually have somebody basically make a motion, somebody second the yays and nays. And he will be on the phone with Applebee's.
And they opened it was like a Saturday.
Yeah.
And certain time of the day, and half of the meal went to the family.
I think that's a great idea. It really is. The way I look at it is it adds so much value to our union. Them tentacles spread throughout the city, and they don't not longer look at us as just a collective bargaining unit, which that's how we're looked at. Like, always poking the bear trying to get more. They see us as this altruism is heavily based off generosity and after blood and loving people. You can't condemn that.
And not want to disrespect him as our union president, because he's the primarily responsible for it. His emotions is what drives us. So this emotion is high about this situation.
We need to be high with it. Any of you in this room pass away, I'm going to be the first one on the phone saying, where do I write the check? Membership fluctuates, and it goes from high to low. And right now it's pretty low, to be completely honest. And we're really trying to organize and create the awareness factor and basically be able to market what the union does. But it's difficult in a culture. It's difficult in a culture of social media, and it's difficult in an instantaneous gratification culture. Because to understand a union, you have to do your research. And we live in a fly-by-night culture where everybody wants information fast.
From water treatment techs to community center aides, Local 3282 members are everywhere. They fix what's broken, maintain what's beautiful, and serve without spotlight. Behind the scenes, they're building a stronger city. They've fought for raises, better health care, job security, and fairness. They've filed grievances, pushed back against bad policies, and negotiated contracts that protect every worker. But they've also gone beyond the job, organizing food drives, memorial scholarships, and volunteer efforts that uplift Peoria as a whole. This union is more than a contract. It's a community.
Hey, good morning. My name is Walter Crenshaw. I'm the president of AFSCME Local 3282. Today is our annual day of giving. This is our 7th year here in the community in the city of Peoria. We started this event at a dirt parking lot at 4 o'clock in the morning with no place to go. And from that time, We're currently at the City of Peoria's Community Center. We're taking over a whole city block with events as far as bouncy houses, fire trucks in the parking lot, sanitation trucks. We have food, vendors, whatever it takes to make the kids have a Merry Christmas, that's what we've done. We've partnered with the city and the community businesses for 7 years to make this event happen. During this 7-year period, we've probably given away over $1 million in toys at the retail value. We're so proud to be a part of the Peoria community, representing our AFSCME local 3282.
Good morning, I'm Ted Murphy here at Dad Giving in the city of Peoria, and I wish you were here with me. Absolutely amazing. As you can see behind me, there's a pile of turkeys, big pile of turkeys, and I don't mean the brothers and sisters from AFSCME, I mean the turkeys on the floor. Families come through, they get a turkey, they get a bag of canned goods, they get a gingerbread house. It's amazing to watch these little children come through. If this doesn't melt your heart, then I don't know what to tell you folks.
Hey, so what we're doing here today is this is Peoria's Day of Giving. In my opinion, probably the best day in Peoria. We are getting out toys and to kids that are actually coming through. So 12 and under go into this room. They get to see Santa. So if you want to come in here, check this out. So they actually get to see Santa, and then they get to walk through and actually pick out a gift. So they get a bag, and they go through this entire thing, and a volunteer walks them through, and they get to pick out an item. So we have a volunteer that escorts them through, and a kid gets to pick out 3 gifts typically. They also get to do a raffle in here, so we should check out this room as well. So, and they actually get to put an item in one of the raffle buckets. So we've got all sorts of bikes. We have little girls' bikes, boys' bikes, little larger boys' bikes. There's electric bikes over there. There's all sorts of stuff. All right, Peoria's Day of Giving. It's amazing. It's huge for people to actually participate in it. So come check it out.
Our original plan was we're just going to do this in the community. We're going to make it happen in the community center. We started in the parking lot across the street at a fire station. Then we moved over to the community center, completely took over the inside of the community center. Then we moved to the outside. Then I moved to the whole city block. Recently, in 2025, 2024, we moved over to the sports complex. It's grown that day, that much. People's hearts are drawn to help. You give them an opportunity to help, most people are all in. They don't care who's doing what. I can help people, great. A lot of people look over the fact that, wow, there's a union actually doing this, partnership with private, public, and the city making this happen. This is something that most people are not aware of. This is the only time and the only event that where all the unions are together in one place serving the community.
It's what's difficult to get the things. It's difficult to get a pension. We know that most Americans virtually have almost nothing in their 401k, the average American. So to be able to get a guaranteed pension and a guaranteed annuity and to work all them years and to put inside of the pension, which is, if you think about a pension, it's unionization. It's a group of human beings collectively coming together and putting a percentage of their money aside to take care of you when you're retired and in your old age. It's the same concept as a Social Security system, and a Social Security system is a safety net. So virtually, a union is a safety net of individuals collectively getting together, organizing, and caring about your brother and sister, caring about your neighbor to make sure you can live a long and prosperous life.
Well, I think that, this work is important because we're representing folks that a lot of people ultimately take for granted. We don't know who takes out our trash. We don't know who services our parks. We just know that the trash gets taken out once a week and the parks are well maintained. So it's important to highlight the work that these folks do out in the community because, they are important. They deserve dignity. They deserve respect. They deserve to retire just like anybody else. And working in the public sector, being a public servant often means that, you have to take a cut in benefits. You don't get paid as much as your private sector equivalent. And you don't get the shine that you deserve because, like I said, your work is taken for granted, but it is so important to the health and safety of our community.
In 2023, Peoria struggled to retain staff. Wages were low. Morale was slipping. AFSCME, Local 3282, raised the alarm and pushed the city to act. The result? A 5% retention bonus for hundreds of city workers. That's the union difference. Identifying problems and driving solutions. Because when public workers are respected, The entire city benefits. Safer streets, faster repairs, cleaner parks, better service. The union fights, and the city thrives.
I think it benefits everybody because they're using common sense. They're first ones out there to do something, and they're way out there, but they're very honest, and they care about other people. That's one thing I noticed about them.
Unions are very personal because they've set the biggest majority of the foreground that they're living right now. What they don't understand, they've had the negativity from parents, grandparents that are all non-union or whatever, because I would say most of your millennials and your Gen X or whatever you want to call them now don't want to even hear anything about a union because they don't want nothing to do with it. The main thing is now they're more worried about themselves, and they're not going to put any effort into a organization or anything like to try to help anybody else other than themselves. That's the thing I'm seeing now, is you don't have the care and courteousness that you used to back in the day. Now it's all me, myself, and I, and what you do, and I'm not worried about it.
I said, we have to change our image. People need to see us differently. What can we do? So I originally engaged the membership, says, hey, here's my plan. I want to get active in the community. I want to get out. I want to find restaurants in Peoria. We live, work, and play in Peoria. Let's go out in the community so they can see who we are.
There's a lot of individuals that go, hey, why do it when I'm going to get it for free anyways? And then there's those that will talk negative and say, the union's not doing much for us anyways. But the problem with that is, what I've discovered is in the high 90, probably 95 percentile range is most have never read their rights. The people that say, I'm not getting a lot from the union, never took the first step to understand what the union is.
I mean, it's getting better year by year. It all depends on the district council people, the city manager, the mayor. I mean, if you get certain people in there, all it takes is a little shift and it can go 180 degrees one way or 180 degrees the other way.
Based upon the political climate right now, I think things are going to turn in a direction that may or may not support us. But there again, like you said, we have a seat at the table to have the uncomfortable conversation. How do we prevent ourselves from getting out of the lower tier in order to get into a higher tier of the market range in regards to all the cities in the state? No different with the union. This is why people look at the union differently. This is why people look at Republicans different. I'm a little embarrassed to be a Republican, stated in regards to, but my values and my principle, I'm a Republican. The conduct in which you see is very unbecoming of my party as a Republican. So I don't support that.
So the reason why we need immigration reform, because we need a lot more people to work in supporting our aging community. Obviously, our healthcare system, look, when they cut so much from the Medicaid program in this so-called one big beautiful bill, that is going to force hospitals, particularly rural hospitals, to cut programs that benefit all people, including our seniors. So that has even though it's only targeted to the Medicaid population, when you cut resources for healthcare, it hurts for everyone and it increases costs.
But today, essential public services like sanitation are under threat because of the big beautiful bill, which will revoke federal funding meant for our states, cities, and towns and use it to pay for billionaire tax breaks. Schweikert and Hamadeh voted to pass that bill, knowing full well that these cuts will have deep ripple effects on our local budgets and will put our communities in a fiscal hole that could take years to crawl out of. We need allies who are willing to stand with workers and families and say, enough is enough. Allies like our Attorney General, Chris Mays, who I know will be standing with working people as we fight to protect our communities from the impacts of this dangerous bill.
drive and motor for the next 2 years until we win over this insanity. So I wish I could get on that bus with you guys though sometimes, because man, I got a lot of work to do. But yeah, it is great to be here with you, and to fight alongside of you. And you know, our unions are doing so much great work to fight not just what I call the big bullshit bill, but also to join with me and other Democratic AGs, the other 23 other Democratic AGs who are fighting back.
There is a relationship from 32 and AFSCME DC, because AFSCME DC hears what we're doing. They hear what we're doing, and they do keep in contact with me as a president. And so the DC basically keeps in constant contact with all their presidents. They want to know how they're doing. They want to know what's going on. They want to know what the membership looks like. And what's amazing is AFSCME DC always fights for legislation on keeping the jobs in America, from keeping people from being terminated. We'll have individuals like Brianna Parkinson would come down, and we work with her through Washington, and she's a brilliant person. And we've established these strong relationships and connections, and we work with them to understand the issues that's going to affect the everyday worker. And you know what? I tell my members, call your congressman, call your congresswoman, call the White House switchboard, right? Get politically activated, spread the word, the power of 1 hour, as Walter Crenshaw used to say. Reach one, teach one, each one, right? Just get it out there and spread the wildfire in the community, and understand your rights.
Hello, my name is Brianna Parkinson, and I serve as AFSCME International's Political and Legislative Director and Lobbyist in the great state of Arizona. AFSCME Local 3282 in Peoria, Arizona is super unique because they are the first affiliate to ever support a Republican mayor, and that actually assisted them in transitioning from a union that didn't have as much engagement in politics to having the engagement they need.
And number one would be working on transparency and accountability. And what that means is operating good faith with one another and working towards resolutions when they arise, whether it comes from grievances or how to mitigate issues and just how to handle things at the lowest level. We believe when we perform that as an organization with our officers, it enables our organization to build strong relationships with the city of Peoria and AFSCME as a whole.
I had an avenue and a mechanism, a legal one, to work through, and not to be anti-management, but to make the workplace better for everyone. And if I could get in there somehow, and if I can add some language, and if I can work on some of these articles, then I have the ability to change generations through an MOU in posterity.
Fight for our human rights, for our civil rights, means more than anything. And to be able to pair the AFSCME organizations, the labor force, and have Chris Mays come out and support us is paramount. We cannot do it without each other. So doing this in tandem with our locals and with the state government, and then getting the message all the way up to the federal government, that is the start of change.
They need to have numbers, because with numbers, you have the right kind of dues being paid where they can hire staff and they can hire legal talent, and they can go out there and make sure that their members are not only respected, but they're also appreciated by the communities that they serve.
AFSCME, Local 3282, is more than a workplace rep. It's a family, a network, a legacy. When you join, you get support, training, representation, and a seat at the table. You gain strength in numbers, a voice in decisions, and protection when times get tough. But more than that, you become part of something bigger, a movement that stretches from Peoria to Memphis to Delano. A movement led by people like you, who want fairness, who believe in public service, and who are ready to build something lasting.
The human desire and ingenuity of America is an economic model that can't be oppressed, that we want to work, we want to innovate, we want to create. and we want to have our jobs at home. We don't mind sharing our wealth. We don't mind helping our neighbors, but we want a strong America also. And the embodiment of the union employee able to take care of their family and create a good foundation for retirement and health benefits is an amazing thing in dignity and labor. And I only got one thing to say. We're not done yet. We just started.
You can't make America great without the union. I'm sorry. You can't. It was built great on the back of the union.
From Dr. King's final march to Cesar Chavez's Great Boycott, from 1930s Wisconsin to modern-day Arizona, the struggle for worker justice has been passed like a torch through generations. Today, that torch burns in Peoria, carried by the members of AFSCME Local 3282. They are not just workers. They are parents, neighbors, leaders. Their jobs may be behind the scenes, but their impact is front and center. This is your city. These are your services. And these are the people who make it all work. If you're one of them, if you serve Peoria, you deserve a seat at the table. You deserve a voice. You deserve a union. Join us, stand with us, and help shape the next chapter in the proud story of AFSCME Local 3282. Together, we rise. Together, we serve. Together, we win.
This is Congressman Greg Stanton to Peoria 3282. Keep up the fight. We are here celebrating the 90th anniversary of Social Security, fighting for our values. You guys are doing an awesome job. Keep up the fight. We need you.
So it's here or in the service, you know. So I elected to go to the service. And in 1961, I was at San Diego, California boot camp, and then I finished my term in the military, and I came back and married this lady of mine here in Arizona. My actual job description is that I'm an aircraft mechanic. I became a crew chief on a Starfighter 104. I became the leader of the Machinists Union in Arizona in 1983. And so, you want to talk about some people getting upset about that, about a Mexican being a leader over white people? Oh man, they didn't like the idea, but you had to go through the Constitution. Sure enough, this gentleman by the name of Luis Arellano, he was the executive director of AFSCME in 1983 when he hired me. He made a lot of enemies hiring me because he had to let a white man go to hire a Mexican. And I learned so much from that gentleman. They taught me what unions are. So I was the first director of the Park and Recreations Committee for the city of Peoria. So I met this group of young guys. I said, you know what? You need a union, brother. That's what you need. We were holding meetings over at his house, in his front yard, at the parks. Pretty soon, other guys came, but they were all Chicanos. Pretty soon, man, I seen cars coming. I seen people walking, women carrying babies with them. So I brought the AFSCME Constitution. And you got to live by this Constitution. This is your Bible. How you elect a president. Here's how you elect a vice president. We started getting some kind of order. It had to be done through the AFSCME Constitution. You had to have a constitutional order. So we got Washington, D.C. involved, and I think they're the ones that give us the number 3282 out of Peoria. I beat Joe Pio at his own game. You'll see it in the letter. I think I showed it to you. Well, Pio, he didn't want unions. He didn't think the county needed a union. I was in an uphill battle with it. Labor, in my own opinion, has to come together. And then lastly is unity. You have to come and put all of that together in one package and say, look, we agree to these issues. Now, where do we disagree? Because you're not going to get everybody agreeing with you. I'm going to tell you that right now. I've been an advocate for the women. My dad was a union leader also. He says, if they would have allowed the women to vote back in the 20s and in the 30s, the intelligence that these women have could have been put to a use where it would be useful not only to the brown, to the black, to the white, to the red, to the yellow. You know what? You cannot allow history to come back and relive that story. You have to have leadership to say, I'm willing to take a stand. Martin Luther King did. This is at my office where I did most of my work for the Private Industry Council. Want to bring a tear to my eye. There's a guy that he was an attorney, a young attorney, and he kind of helped me in my work. And my office was right around the corner from his office. He says, Lou, I want you to come over here. I want you to meet somebody. I said, what? I haven't got time. I'm busy. Get your ass over here. I said, okay. So I went around, and this little short man, he really dark complected, he looked more Indian than anything now. And he's standing in the back of the room, and he says, I said, who is this guy? Oh, hell yeah. He says, first of all, I want to introduce you to Caesar Chavez. Man, because I always wanted to meet him, because this was a leader. He grabbed me and he hugged me and he wouldn't let go. And he says, I have heard so much about you, Lou. I said, no more than I've heard about you. And then he and I, from then on, became close friends, close relations. He used to write letters. Well, I got letters that he wrote me, and he sent me cards, Christmas cards. We held an international AFSCME convention in Los Angeles at one of the richest Hilton hotels in Los Angeles. And I hadn't eaten all day. I hadn't eaten no breakfast or nothing. And he was sitting in a real nice area, He said, hey, Luke, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to go buy me a hamburger. I'm hungry. He said, you ain't eating no damn hamburger. No, he never cussed. I never heard him cuss or any of that. Just get over here. Man, they had roast beef, steak, ham, you name it. They had all that rich man's food, And he said, sit down, we're going to eat. We sat down and then the president of the state local was looking for me. She couldn't find me because I was sitting in a partition where my back was, she couldn't see me and I couldn't see her. And then I was talking with Caesar. He says, we need to get together tonight and let us know, where we're at, what we're going, what do you need, what I need, and so on and so forth. And he and I, but the time that I was going to jail over him when we got to Yuma, and my tie went across the line in California. That big highway patrolman grabbed me by my tie. He jerked me across that little creek where it was, and he was going to put the cuffs on me. And then Caesar saw it, says, hey, what are you doing, and then there was 3 attorneys standing right there. And he says, you better let that man go. He says, what you did, it was illegal. It's wrong. and we're going to start the process right now on you, because we got your badge number and we got your name right now. They were going to put me in the car. Anyway, for some reason or other, they let me out of the car, and I came back to the Arizona side, and Caesar said, we were ready to go to battle. I said, I'm ready. You're ready to go right now. Let's go. We'll do it right now. And so, but Caesar, I think he was about 5'5", and maybe 5'4", something like that. He was a short man. But you could just feel the energy and the power come out of this man. I mean, he was just, it was just there. Caesar Charles and I were closely friends. We were real close friends. And I was invited to the luncheon that they had. And it was too bad when he passed away. I went to his funeral and everything, but yeah. And then we were on strike. AFSCME was on strike in Chicago, and Jerry McEntee at that time was the president of the International, and he says, "Hey Lou, here's a sign for you." And I said, "Okay." So I carried it, and they took a picture of me walking down in Chicago.
Amazing. So all this is AFSCME history.
Oh yeah, all of this.
Wow. What means the most to you?
What means the most to me?
There's one placard, one sheet of paper.
That contract. There's a copy of the contract here that I don't know what the brother did with it. That's one of the most important. That we got letters from you remember Dennis D. Concini? He was a senator, United States senator. He and I worked together, and we worked as a general for I don't know if you remember Nassau, where they're trying to get the Mexican people to work in the fields for nothing. But I don't know what he did with the contract either. There's a lot of cases that I won in Superior Court that are here that are well documented.
I'm Governor Katie Haslam, an AFSCME member.
He's grown up in a different era. I didn't grow up with a computer, he did. So the union itself needed to innovate from a time and space, from my great skills and communication to modern technology. Things are changing. And I haven't been a part of that cusp or change. And I saw that both him and the elected vice president both had those skills that would progress the union beyond what I was doing at the current time. So I was the one who actually reached out to him and says, hey, you should consider being our president.
It was just a normal Tuesday morning in May when Joseph, Augie, and Nate were getting ready to start their morning routes, and they came upon a serious rollover crash here at 91st Avenue and Lake Pleasant Parkway.
Definitely surprising.
This is what they saw, the dash cam in Joseph's truck rolling as they approached the scene one after the other.
Two trucks get in an accident. One of them flipped and stopped and got out and went to see if they were both okay.
They saw a pickup truck flipped upside down and didn't hesitate to act. Using their garbage truck to block traffic and secure the scene, Joseph called the supervisor and went to help the trapped driver.
He said he was trapped in a seatbelt, hanging upside down. I asked the other guy if he had a knife on him, and he got under there and cut him out.
Kind of the right place, right time. And I have some training.
Were you the one with the knife?
Yes.
Okay, what did you do?
I crawled in there, talked to him for a little bit, wanted to make sure he was okay. And then once he was all right and he wanted to get out of the seat, I assisted him getting out.
Using his pocket knife, Nate cut the driver free from the seatbelt and helped him safely crawl out of the truck.
He was in shock, definitely.
Joseph checked on the other driver to make sure he was okay, all while Augie called 911 and helped secure the area, so first responders had a clear path upon arrival.
Just gave them as much information as they were asking for, and then I made the call to the office, to the supervisors.
Peoria police officers arrived on scene within minutes to take over the emergency response.
They told us to go ahead and take off. We just went about our day.
Just a normal day.
Yeah.
These guys always ready to jump in and help a stranger.
I'm glad I was able to help, and then everybody went home.
Joseph, Nate, and Augie's quick thinking, teamwork, and courage definitely preventing someone from getting seriously hurt. Their kindness and big hearts inspiring all of us. In Peoria, Trisha Hendricks, 12 News.
Trisha, thank you. And we also learned that this wasn't Nate's first time stepping in during a crisis. A couple years ago, he spotted a truck on fire, pulled over, and put out the flames with his own fire extinguisher.
Look at Nate.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing Peoria right.